Some of you who've been following me longer on YouTube, say December of 2017 up until maybe May-ish of last year, 2018, remember this thing I was doing, getyourselftodothings.com. And that's the thing I've still been sort of chipping away at. Whenever you hear me referring to a book I'm working on and drafting, when you've seen pictures of me posted to Instagram as Gamketo Guy working out in the park, that's usually me working and reworking that material. But it's not that I haven't been doing it, it's that I've been writing, rewriting, reclustering, testing it more with my training clients, with my club members, working it directly into the processes we use in Gamketo Club, working it back into my life to apply things to be able to prove through more concrete examples what does and doesn't work. Because what it's all about at the end of the day, the getyourselftodothings.com stuff, is trying to solve what I consider kind of this first problem. So like, here's how it works, right? You go out there, you find all kinds of strategies and information on the internet these days about a plan to follow, a pathway of how to do something. You can, whatever it is you want to know how to do, find steps to do it. You can get resources that would help you learn it. You can figure out what you're supposed to be doing next. But if you can't get yourself to try those steps, or to start down that pathway, or to keep yourself making progress on it, then it doesn't matter that you have access to the information because you haven't got a way to use it. And so, even though I keep reframing, reworking that information, like I say, reapplying it back into my life, I'm going to bring up a real easy example today. Just as the sort of thing, as it can seem simple or gimmicky, but it works, so I want to share it and get it out there. And part of how I'm going to keep myself moving forward on this is going to bring it back into kind of sharing in public a little bit when I'm working on some of these things, little examples that come from the material. I refer to it as getyourselftodothings.com because there's a free list there you can sign up for to get news when there's progress, including some new videos that may not be public about other techniques that I'm working on developing. So the simple one today is actually just anchoring, which has been around for a long time, a lot of different kind of names it's gone under. And so a simple example of anchoring stuff that I've been now using for many years is basically I've got exercise shoes, right? I mean, I didn't go out and buy special sneakers for it. It's that these were my old shoes. They were kind of falling apart. So when I got different shoes, well, I still work out in these shoes, even though I'm on a stationary bike. So it's not as though I actually need to be in different sneakers for it, but simply the fact that I've put myself into those shoes makes it easier for me to get myself to do it, because it's easier for me to put on those shoes than it is for me to get myself on that bike. But once I've got those shoes on, I can't deny to myself that that's the path that I'm on, because every time I put those shoes on, I maintain that promise to myself to work out. And that if I'm not going to work out, then I don't put those shoes on. Right? When after some of the situations coming up, I maintain that anchoring, and that's something that can apply. It doesn't have to be sneakers, right? I mean, that's a thing that all kinds of people will maintain a certain kind of music they listen to while they work on code, or a certain type of music they work on when they work on art, a certain kind of music they listen to when they are studying, and that's kind of helps get them in the mode, get them in the zone. A certain kind of music we listen to at wrestling practice, and that to me was kind of my anchoring, right? If I was going to the weightlifting gym, if I was going to practice, if I was just getting ready for a tournament, that was the music that kind of put myself in that state. And it's an easy thing to do. And so an example where I've been doing this more recently, like a lot of folks out there who are inherently kind of product creator types, creative types, developers, teachers, all these kind of things, sales is not the first and foremost thing I enjoy doing, right? I like to teach. I like to create products. I like to write content. And so for many years, my business has kind of grown primarily just through content marketing. Because when in doubt, well, I could certainly put out interviews and put out videos and put out just material and have that some lead people back to what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, for a business to really scale, grow, help more people in all the ways that it's developed, well, you got to do some active sales work. And that's not my favorite thing to do. Like I say, a lot of teachers, creative people, developers that I meet also don't really care to do sales work. So my thing I've been doing for that, fairly recently started, this is kind of based on my other anchoring that I've had success with, got myself a little sales hat. Right? We kind of joke about when you're running a business, you got to wear multiple hats. Well, this is specifically my sales hat. Now, I chose this because, A, it's super cheap. It's $6, right? I'm not talking about big investments. Not talking about any of that kind of sunk cost fallacy stuff. But, to me, it kind of reminds me of the old kind of green visor styles you might have seen from an accountant, right? Back in the day. Same, I think, anymore these days, clerks at, or whatever they're called, dealers at casino tables wear them. But it's people who deal with the money. And so I figure when I'm put the sales hat on, then that's when I'm doing my sales related work, which isn't necessarily what it sounds like. I'm not going to door knocking, obviously, but there's certain kind of sales tasks having to do with prospecting and lead warming and other kinds of material that are specifically sales focused and doing all that kind of work. But what that allows me to do is to track concretely with myself and say, did I wear this hat last week? How many times last week did I wear this hat? How long did I have this hat on? I can set a concrete goal of wear this hat for at least an hour on Monday, right? For 2 hours on Wednesday. For whatever it is, I have this as a dial because it's so much easier for me to put that hat on. Think of that as sort of like, let's picture the difficulty of doing a task we don't want to do. Maybe it's not even because it's hard, right? A lot of the work that we do on the business side, people joke about how easier it seems like a business major in college. It's not necessarily hard in the same way as solving a math problem that's complicated. It's not hard in the same way as coming up with an art piece, visually art or musically, that you're proud of. It's hard in a different way, and that sometimes the work is mundane, boring, spreadsheets, not exciting, not as rewarding immediately, takes longer to see an outcome for. Well, that's still hard in a different way. But if we picture that that's like a height I've got to climb up and over, it's much easier for me to use this as kind of a stepping stool. And now I'm partway there and I don't have as high to go because, well, made this promise to myself that if I put this hat on, that's what I'm doing with my time until it comes off. And allows me to kind of self-regulate a little easier. And especially because I work from home, I'm always sitting in the same chair or in the room next to me. It's the same reason why when I go out to that park, and like I say, you've seen occasionally, I've done some old, Write With Me videos here on this channel, YouTube, older ago. I've done videos or pictures still on Instagram from when out at that park working on this material for GetYourselfToDoThings.com, reworking that material in various ways. When I'm at the park, I'm almost always working on the GetYourselfToDoThings.com stuff. There's one or two small exceptions when there's a bit of overlap with Gamketo Club and how I work the material back into what we do in our organization. But that is part of my anchoring, that's a space where I do the kind of work. And by preserving that as sort of a sacred, almost seems like a misused or overused word in this case, but as specialized, that's where the work goes on. So anyhow, that was just one I want to share today, the simple technique of anchoring. I'm sure it's a thing you've probably found yourself doing, maybe even subconsciously. It can also sometimes even backfire on us if we're not careful. This goes back to these old examples of, college dorms are always so small. Often it's two people packed in a small room. And what winds up happening is they will sit and work in their bed, or they'll try to play games in the same couch as they also try to do their homework. And when it starts messing with us because we lose that anchoring. We lose that clean separation. And suddenly we can't sleep because our brain is in doing homework mode and we're sitting in bed again. Suddenly we have a hard time enjoying ourselves because we're in homework mode on the couch. And you got to keep that separation. That's one of the values of people who just will go 10, 15 minutes down the street to the school library or whatever, so that's where they do their work. It separates that out. And it has a secondary effect too, of just as easy as it is, like I say, to kind of climb up that or put the shoe on to get myself in that mode. It also helps me in a little way, and you don't want to abuse this to yourself, obviously, but you can start to kind of almost trap yourself to an extent of say, all right, well, I'm not going home from the library until I finish this problem set, right? I'm not taking this shoe off until I've gotten off that bike and I'm all sweaty and it's time to shower. Not taking this off until I've completed whatever my numerical goal is for the day, whether it's by time, whether it's by number of people contacted, whether it's a certain amount of work around business development, whatever it is. It allows you to kind of hold yourself to it because you say, well, I know I'm not going to let myself, play PlayStation 4 in the evening or whatever until I take this off, which means I got to get it done. Because the sooner I get it done, the sooner I get to go back on to doing the things I care to do that weren't my favorite thing to do, but helps me do the stuff I know I got to do, like exercise, study, as the case may be. Doing behind the scene, boring business, salesy stuff. That's what I want to share today. If you're interested in these kind of tips, see more material I'm developing, I'll continue to share some of it out here kind of in the open here on my YouTube channel. Also, if you sign up at GetYourselfToDoThings.com, it's a free email list. I super don't spam it. I've probably gone a very long time without sending even a single message. I guess the one about this video is going to be the most recent message to it. But if you're curious to catch those, I am also putting some other videos on that. They're a little more experimental than the stuff I'm kind of doing out here in public. Partly because that list has also been, for me, a way to find people who have specific questions they're attacking, and then to be able to actually have been reaching out to some of them, working with them one-on-one or in group settings or otherwise, trying to try out these different strategies and techniques to figure out what is and isn't clicking for them, because I really want to refine and solve this problem as best we can before I share it more widely out there in one format or another. Like I say, to me, it's a very first problem, very high level, very central issue that when we can fix this, when we can help people do the things they mean to do, it unlocks a ton of the potential of the learning resources on the internet, the help and support communities, and it's just ultimately, I think, going to help lead more people to lead happier lives, more fulfilling situations where they're doing the things they mean to do career-wise, personally, and otherwise, that they know what to do but they're not getting themselves to do it. Want to work on that problem more. So that's what I want to chat about today. Thanks always for tuning in. Whether or not you join the GetYourselfToDoThings.com list, of course, I'll keep making some other videos, like I say, with Big conference around the corner. We'll see if I keep these up. I don't know if I'm going to record in advance, record some little stuff there, take a break, stop doing them. Who knows? But thanks for listening today.